Power Rangers Dino Charge. Yeah! It's been quite the break from this show, but unlike previous hiatuses, I've been keeping myself busy both with the Power Chamber podcast and the Ninjago reviews, which took me a lot longer than I originally anticipated, but hey, we're not here to talk about that. It's Power Rangers time, and since the show is coming back from a long break, I recommend that people watch the other Dino Charge episode reviews I've done before continuing with this one. It's okay, I'll wait. Time's up, so let's see what the show has in store for us as we look at episode 9, When Logic Fails. The episode opens in space, where Rich and Poisandra are in Sledge's throne room, checking to see if the Terror Charger has any power. Fury comes in just as Rich determines that the Charger is dead, and Sledge yells at Fury for taking the E-Tracer from Poisandra, causing it to be destroyed. Fury tries to defend himself, saying that he had to take control of the situation, and he now knows where the Terror Zord is, adding that he can control the Zord with the Terror Charger, but Rich tells Fury that the Charger is out of power. Fury says that he can charge the Charger, but Rich says that only the Gold Energem can do that, with Poisandra adding that they can't find the Energem now that the E-Tracer is destroyed, which leads Sledge to take the Terror Charger from Fury and banish him from the ship. Sometime later, Rich puts the Terror Charger on a table to continue playing a board game with a monster called Puzzler, when Fury suddenly appears and takes the Charger, forcing the monsters to help him charge the thing as they head to Earth. At the lab, Riley is analyzing some marbles, while Ms. Morgan, Tyler, Coda, and Shelby take a look at the destroyed E-Tracer. Coda mentions that he's hungry, but Ms. Morgan tells him that she sent Chase to get pizza before she and Shelby talk about if Fury will go after the Terror Zord since he betrayed Poisandra. Tyler becomes confused by the whole thing and asks what their next step is, but Riley says they should look at the problem logically before he shows them a demonstration with his marbles. Through Riley's demonstration, he explains the villains are going to be looking for a way to charge the Terror Charger, and Ms. Morgan says that there's only one lab like theirs that has the technology to charge the Charger, so Riley says that lab is where they start. Cut to the previously mentioned lab that is now abandoned and being used by the villains, with Puzzler watching some kids play on a giant chessboard before Fury orders him to make sure the Rangers don't break into the lab. Rich, in the meantime, is dusting off some old medical equipment, which Fury plans to use to charge the Charger, as the General comes in and orders Rich to hook the Terror Charger up to energize. Rich tries to warn Fury that the equipment probably doesn't work anymore and could blow them up, but Fury tells Rich to stop whining and hook up the Charger. Puzzler continues watching the kids outside and gets so frustrated by their illogical moves that he decides to go outside and confront them. The kids run away in fear of the monster and knock a passing Chase off his skateboard, causing him to drop the pizzas he was carrying. Chase gets up and yells at the kids, but notices Puzzler and engages the monster, letting it slip that he's a Power Ranger. Chase is knocked down by Puzzler, who runs into the lab when the other Rangers arrive. The teens check on Chase and determine that Fury's inside the lab with the Terror Charger, so they run in to find Fury before he charges the Charger. Riley says they should split up as Puzzler starts changing the outline of the building, creating a maze that will trap the Rangers, also causing the building to freeze to make the game more interesting. Through some pretty frightening and well done sequences, the Rangers figure out they're in a looping maze and that the place is getting colder, save for Coda, who's trying to get a cookie from a vending machine. Riley tries to think out of the box to get out of the maze and notices a vent which leads to the roof, so he contacts the others to tell them that he found a way out, but the signal stops working before he can. Riley climbs into the duct and heads towards the roof when he hears Fury in another room.
I can't believe it's working! The Terror Charger is gaining power! It's almost full!
I can't control it much longer!
Just a little bit more!
That must be what Tyler saw.
Turn it off!
Oh, it worked! The Terror Charger.
Well, that raises a whole lot of questions. Fury takes the Charger and goes to the roof to talk with Puzzler, with Riley also making it to the roof and listening in on their conversation. Puzzler tells Fury that he trapped the Rangers, so Fury says that once he finds the Terror Zord, he'll have it and the Rangers, meaning that Sledge will be begging him to come back. At that point, Ms. Morgan contacts Riley, who informs her of the situation, and Ms. Morgan tells Riley that he needs to get the Terror Charger, but Riley doesn't want to leave the others behind. Ms. Morgan tells Riley that stopping Fury is the logical thing to do, and Riley agrees, but as he tries to follow Fury, he hesitates, saying that he can't leave his friends. Meanwhile, the others are close to freezing to death except for Coda, who's still trying to get his cookie, but it gets stuck in the machine. Riley confronts Puzzler, telling the monster to release his friends or his history, but Puzzler says that would be illogical since the others will still be trapped even if he's destroyed. Puzzler instead proposes that they play a game, saying he'll release Riley's friends if he wins, but if Puzzler wins, he gets Riley's Energem. Riley accepts the challenge and the two begin playing, with Riley just stalling for time as he uses his marbles in the air ducts to lead the other Rangers to his position. The plan works and the others head into the vents, with Coda knocking down some boxes only to find that they were filled with cookies. Back with Riley, Puzzler finishes the game, declaring himself the winner, but Riley says the game was to escape the maze, and the other Rangers reveal themselves behind the monster. The team morphs, taking on Puzzler and a squad of Vivix, and after a very quick fight, Cody uses Tyler's T-Rex charger to finish off the monster. While that's going on, Fury finds and awakens the Pterazord, which flies off to attack the city just as the Rangers finish Puzzler. The Rangers form the Pararaptor formation of the Dino Charge Megazord to stop the Zord, which starts blasting them. Sledge notices that Fury now controls the Pterazord and causes Puzzler to grow in an effort to help Fury destroy the Rangers. The Megazord gets attacked on both sides, so the Rangers decide to handle one problem at a time and try to finish Puzzler, unknowingly sending the monster at the Pterazord, which destroys the creature for good. Tyler says the Pterazord must have thought it was being attacked before the Zord gives its now empty charger back to Fury and flies off. Fury says that he and the Pterazord will be back to destroy the Rangers once he recharges the charger, before we cut back to space where Sledge and Poisandra argue.
Now, Sledgeums, let's not make any rash decisions. Remember how often Fury failed before?
Maybe.
And he just destroyed Puzzler! Terrible, right?
But Fury has control of the Pterazord. That's what I care about. Master Sledge, I have returned. I knew you'd come in handy one day.
A cat always lands on its feet.
So, tell me about the Pterazord. How do we finally destroy the Rangers with it?
I have a plan, Master Sledge.
Sometimes it's like I'm invisible in this place! Oh!
Back at the Rangers lab, Riley questions whether or not he did the right thing by not getting the charger from Fury, but both Keeper and Miss Morgan tell him that he made the right call, despite the fact that Miss Morgan told Riley to go after the charger in the first place, but that's neither here nor there. Chase and Coda come in and tell Riley that he helped save them, before Tyler and Shelby come in with pizza. Riley stops Tyler to talk with him about what he saw in the air duct, and the episode ends with Tyler saying that they have to free or stop whatever's inside Fury before he uses that energy to destroy them. This episode is good. Not great, but still good. The biggest thing this episode has going for it is that it continues to build on all the elements brought up in the last episode, with Fury using that energy thing to power the Terra Charger, him finding and controlling the Pterazord, and his growing conflict with Poisandra, which is even more interesting since Sledge now favors Fury over Poisandra for having the Pterazord. Even having the Rangers getting trapped in a looping maze by Puzzler puts them in a pretty horrifying and dire situation, and the only thing that keeps the episode from getting too dark is the running gag with Coda. However, where the episode falls flat is with the characterization of Riley, which is not so much bad, it's just confusing. My biggest problem is that while we've been told that Riley likes to analyze everything, there doesn't seem to be a link between his analytical mind and the sword fighter he was introduced as. And had the episode actually gone into why he felt the need to analyze things instead of just showing us how he does it, would have made it easier to tie that aspect of his character with the Ranger side of him, and would have made Riley feel more like a fully fleshed out person and less like a character with two drastically different speeds. Another problem that the episode has is that once all the Rangers escape Puzzler's maze, their fight scenes with the guy feel really rushed to the point where he's only taken out by 2 hits after he becomes giant. Still, that might also be the result of the episode using mostly original footage for a 20-minute runtime. Overall, this episode is alright. While Riley's characterization is definitely a huge problem, and the fight at the end does feel rushed, I ultimately have to commend the episode not only for using very little Sentai footage, but also for building on the overarching narrative, making me excited for what will happen next. I'm Nick, aka Iron Man 1993, and may the power protect you.